Welcome along to Sports Bits. Glad to have you join us on what is another fresh episode of the show. We are, of course, counting down to the start of the new football season, and of course, all other sporting activities continue to hold sway across Britain. Of course, also out there in Africa, there's basketball leagues going on. There are small tournaments all across the landmass. So it's great to report that to you. Of course, transfer business continues to take center stage as we continue to build up to what is going to be an incredible new season. Of course, always a pleasure to have you join us, and of course be a part of the conversation as well on social media. Sportspace across all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course on Facebook as well. Take a first break on the show, because when we come back, we're getting straight into the stories. Welcome back, Sports Bits lovers. My name is Yubi, and so I'm joined by Falana Adeni, who has become a furniture in the Sports Bits table, on the table rather. Good to have you join us this great episode. Let's start off with the story which we kind of preambled last week, albeit in the women's category. Let's talk about the Tigers of Nigeria. African basketball, sort of like a warm-up tournament, but we got the better of Mali.
Definitely, and it's always a pleasure to be on the show. The Tigers, the Tigress, NBBF, we don't know when we're going to get to see a stable house, because right now, it's even surprising that the Tigers were able to win their first game against Mali, because they got to Angola a day before the game. And basketball, sports generally, you need to relax a bit, but they didn't get to relax. They just jumped into the game immediately. And that's because the engineer Musa Kida-led board of the NBBF, had issues, sourcing for finance, for the boys to travel to Angola. And at some point, it felt like they were not going to travel because allegedly, a particular, president, in Zone F of the NBBF that was supposed to source for fund is at loggerhead with the NBBF president. So, when two elephants, are fighting,
right,
the ground is always the one, suffering.
Tell me this now: who's the recognized, NBBF, president by FIBA? Who's the person then?
I think engineer Musa Kida.
Musa Kida, right?
Is the one in charge. But then
right,
they have sub-presidents, within
the zones. Yeah.
So the person that's supposed to source for fund, is a logger with the president.
But that doesn't make sense to me. Shouldn't the president? Mm-hmm. That's the most important task, no? Sourcing for funds and financing the federation. Why leave such a task to somebody who is in one of the zones,
Okay, I think it's a division of labor, yeah.
Right.
So they don't want someone to just be the one doing all the jobs. So that is why they give tax, to different people within the federation. And so I think according to what is on the NBBF website, this particular president wants to sabotage the effort of the entire NBBF. So at some point, it felt like the boys were not going to travel to Angola, but somehow they were able to source for fund. And this transition from the previous government into the Bola Ahmed Tinubu government, we don't really know who is the sport minister, who is in charge of sport.
So there's a vacuum, so to speak, and that allows for confusion, so to speak, right? It's been a rocky couple of years for Nigerian basketball, both in the women's and the women's have a bit more stability in terms of what Otis Hogley did with the team, and of course they have a new manager now. So it almost feels as if though you balance one side of the equation, then problem starts on the other side of the equation. So we're always wishing our female and male teams, the Tigers and the Tigress, all the best in their endeavors. Looking forward to seeing how the tournament continues to pan out there. Right then, from one national team to another national team, albeit in a different sport entirely, let's touch base with the Super Falcons of Nigeria, who did threaten to boycott their first game of the World Cup. July 20th is the date for that game against Canada, which many Nigerians would, be very familiar with. Talk to me about that alleged boycotting, because that's now been nipped in the bud. And apparently we're hearing that the game would go on as planned. The girls would fulfill their duties to their nations. What went down there?
What Ademola Olajire, the media officer of the NFF, told us is that they've spoken to the boys, everyone have agreed. So even the captain of the Super Falcons, Onome Ebi, also came out to say that no, the report of we boycotting the first game is not true. But then again, before that rumor came out, something must have happened.
Yeah.
Probably the girls maybe threaten the NFF that we're not going to play because of the bonuses that you're not going to give us. And what the NFF are saying is, you're getting 30,000, directly to your account from FIFA, because and as a Nigerian, from what we've seen from NFF, our football administrators, I'm tempted to think they are not happy that the girls are getting the 30,000 directly.
$30,000, you mean?
Yeah, $30,000. I beg your pardon. That they are not happy that they are getting it directly. Maybe they feel it should have come into our purse.
Right.
We'll not give it, but we know they will get the entire.
What's he doing in the account of the NFF?
And I think that's why FIFA decided that the federations, they are not going to get the girls' money. We're going to pay it directly into the account.
Right.
We're going to give the federation also, participation bonus, for coming to the tournament. So I think that is where the girls feel that we should also be getting something, from this, and that is why there's a bit of back and forth. So, and he said, when you are getting 30,000, why do you need the 3,000 or 4,000 that we're going to give you as match bonus?
I don't understand. If Burna Boy did popularly sing a song, Dangote, still they find money. So I'm not quite sure, how much more the girls.
He was stuttering when they spoke to him on a particular TV station.
So all of this obviously erupted last week, and it all started from, I think, a podcast which the coach, Randy Waldrum, was on. He did mention he was, up until 2 weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago, was being owed 2 years, arrears of his salary. And some of the girls were being owed as much as 7 months, something like that. And, Damon Olajire, who's the communications, manager for the NFF, did make a rebuttal which looked very personal and in many ways very, if you want to say that, right? But of course, there's been a back and forth. Clearly, there's a bit of bad blood between, the NFF and, Randy Waldrum. And, I get the sense that it's almost like they wish he wasn't taking the team to the World Cup, so to speak. So I'm not quite sure how that works, because I'm not quite sure why you have a baby and try to sabotage the baby's first day in school.
I don't know.
Or something like that.
I think Randy, beat them to their game.
Yeah.
By coming out first to say that, see, if we don't perform well at the World Cup, it's not my fault. No.
NFL he did mention very clearly that he's supposed to have at least an 11-man team for opposition scouting. He's not got adequate staff to watch opposition players and get the reports and details on how to give his team tactical instructions and all that kind of stuff. So, July 20th is not too far away, isn't it? So we have maybe drama. More drama unfolding. Hopefully that is not the case.
I'm expecting more.
Well, never short of drama, Nigerian, football, basketball, whatever it is, and not the kind of good drama you want to see, right? Anyway, wishing the girls all the best ahead of the Women's World Cup happening in New Zealand and Australia. We're looking forward to seeing, how this, this whole ball game, pans out into the performance of the girls on the pitch, right? Well, of course, still on the local scenes, it's always nice to, pack it all up in a bunch of fries, right? Let's touch base with the 23rd Milo basketball tournament. Happened here in Lagos, pretty much. And talk to me about the industry which was on show from, the boys and the girls. Now, make no mistake, these are kids, in secondary school. Let's start off with the women's category, because we've been talking about the women lately a lot more. Lagos against Abuja. Pretty much it was the battle, but if you go down to it, top field school at Jegule, Lagos, as opposed to versus government school Karu in Abuja. Final score, right, 53-50. So it was a Steph Curry 3-pointer that pretty much gave the girls the lead. But top field school, deserved champions there. Commiserations to the government secondary school in Karu. I know Karu. I've been there a couple of times when I'm in Abuja. But good to see that happen, no?
Yeah, top field, Lagos State. I think basketball, 8th grade basketball in Nigeria, especially Lagos State, is something that is really, really commendable. And kudos to the organizers, Milo.
Yeah.
And there's a basketball court in the local that Milo used to handle it a couple of years back. And you see young girls, young boys, coming to play at that particular basketball court.
Yeah.
And when you ask them, what is your dream? They tell you that they want to play at the NBA. They want to represent their country. And the sad thing is. Even not for private bodies, private individuals coming, and companies like Milo coming in to make sure that the age grade sport, the age grade basketball, it doesn't die.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we're going to have players playing for the national team. But, I mean, they're making it possible for us to, okay, we might not get a chance to have the luxury of coming from a rich home or a well-to-do home. But we're going to give you a platform for you to perform, and that is what they've done with the secondary school basketball. So I mean, I'm happy. Lagos State, I mean, winning in the girls category.
Yep. Well, of course, commiserations to government secondary school Karabuja in the female category, and of course, congratulations to the eventual winners, Topfield Secondary School at Jegunle in Lagos. Right. So from the girls to the boys, interestingly, what the girls couldn't quite do in government secondary school, the boys were able to do in
that statement.
Yeah.
What a boy can do.
Well, sometimes you can turn it, sometimes you can switch it up, right? But it was government secondary school Karabuja who actually showed that, we cannot lose two things, and had to redeem the girls' image and the image of the entire school. Then 46 to 43 against Father O'Connell Secondary School in Mina. So this is a bit of an interesting one because this is pretty much all across the country, right? So talk to me about that. And in the end, the most important thing for the kids here is to get the exposure, get some competitiveness into it, but ultimately the platform Milo giving, and this is Milo's thing. They've been doing it for years. They're maybe one of the front runners as far as age grade basketball in Nigeria. So congrats to both. And you touched base on this already, and you mentioned already how this sort of like bridges the gap between getting the facilities to go on a court. It's as simple as going on a court and bouncing the ball, knowing how to handle, seeing other people do it, and getting the inspiration.
A lot of changes, by the way. Number one, the standard went up. You could see how keenly contested the finals were, whether for the boys or for the girls. Number two, this year we brought in diversity and inclusion. You see the kids with special needs, they were on display here. You saw them play, you saw them exhibit. We've had them in the camp for the last 2 months, training them, preparing them, and hoping that next year we'll probably go into a more competitive situation and in competitive games with the special needs children. Today, we're working in partnership with a whole lot of bodies, and they've been very, very supportive. Starting from the Nigerian School Sports Federation, they are actually the ones that gives us the inroad into the schools. We work with the various Ministry of Educations all over the country. We're working with the various Ministry of Sports all over the country. We're working with the Nigerian Olympic Committee. We're working with the Nigerian Basketball Federation. I sincerely don't know what else to ask for. We've been having a very, very wonderful working relationship with all these guys. The only thing we can ask for is continued cooperation so that we can continue to build our talents in this country. I will give an advice in terms of not just basketball, but in sports. I think every young person should be involved in sports. Sport is the greatest teacher. Sports, and by extension, basketball that we are investing in, teaches you a whole lot of values. It teaches you teamwork. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you patience. It gives you confidence in yourself the more you do it. And those are the values that we need to imbibe in our young people so that even as they grow, whether into sport or into the different fields they want to go into, all those values will help them to succeed in life. That is the word that we want to live with everybody.
So congrats to all of the participating teams as well. Right then. So we pretty much run through all the local stories now. Let's take a break on the show because when we come back, we're switching gears to some European football stuff. There's F1 also waiting for you on the other side. Welcome back to Sports Bits. It is great to have you join us. And if you just joined us for the first time, I mean, you've pretty much been missing for the last couple of years pretty much, but I'm not to worry because there's a new football season coming along and we are pretty much in the transfer aspect of it, and Falan Adeni is still here to give his insights on all the transfer business. I get the feeling that his darling Arsenal are moving very quickly and very swiftly. 3 players signed already. All things are well at the Emirates. My name is Yubi, and so doing of it, not transferring anyway as far as Sports Business is concerned. But let's touch base with the new developments as far as transfer business, because we've pretty much covered extensively the cream of the crop. You know, your Arsenals, your Uniteds, your Chelseas, your Real Madrid. But Real Madrid, let's touch base with them. You know, signed another wonder kid from Turkey, Fenerbahce to be precise, Gula. Who's this player? You know, and you know, where does he come from?
I mean, Turkish, just like you said, 18-year-old player, and Mesut Ozil gave good
reviews
about the guy. You know, he said, if you think I'm good, then this kid is very, very good. And back then, Florentino Perez buys established players, very, very old, probably at the age of 24, 25, 26. But right now, what is building with this current Madrid is something that we really, really need to be careful of, because you have Eduardo Camavinga in the team, Bellingham, you have Tchouaméni, Federico Valverde in the team. Now you are adding Adagula, to that team. And according to the report, Luka Modric told Adagula that just come. Let me play a year. After a year, he will take over from me. If that happens, off the back of what we've seen from the young man himself, he's a very, very talented player, a left-footed player, and you should be very, very careful when you're facing a left-footed player, in the world of football. And I think it's a great move for him. I'm hoping it doesn't end like Martin Odegaard, that was sent on loan, numerous loan before eventually, finding his feet at Arsenal. I hope Real Madrid gives him the chance. But then again, when you look at the players, they're moving away.
So it's almost the right time, right?
Yeah. And maybe also
Modric could play maybe 2 years more, something like that.
You get the feeling that these young guys, get a chance to play, in that Madrid team. So I think they are building for the next 10. Madrid has
they sorted, pretty much.
Been
and if you believe what the papers say, they're scrapping up the cash to sign their most coveted player. They've been eyeing this player for 2-3 years now, Kylian Mbappe, who many believe he's destined to wear Madrid shirts. Could it be this summer or further summers along the line? Remains to be seen. But of course, Madrid getting another wonder kid, just as Martin Odegaard was, just as many players have been in the time past, and Madrid continuing to do very silent but very effective business. Right? We haven't heard much on Barcelona as far as transfers go, even though we hear they signed a player. For £35 million thereabout. Tell me about that player.
Yeah, a Brazilian. From he will join them in the January transfer window. So it's not a player that is coming in, straight into the team. So January transfer window. Let's see what's going to happen. But then again, they've gotten they had on 2 free transfers. Even go Martinez from Athletic Bilbao and Ilkay Gundogan from Man City.
From Man City,
that's
right?
Regarding their business.
And the champions, right?
Yeah, they wanted to sign Adagula, by the way. And the young man said immediately he heard of Real Madrid interest. Every other interest evaporates.
Yeah. So, who would like to wear the all-white, stripes of Real Madrid? Of course, Barcelona, of course, hold their own incredible appeal as well. Right. Look, we touched Arsenal completing the deal for Declan Rice unveiled. Right?
No,
that's
they're
not unveiled.
They're going to be unveiled this week.
This week.
Their medicals, both
Timber and Caliber. Right. So both. Interestingly, Timber is a twin. So I saw on Twitter somebody made a joke and said, do you know Timber has a twin? What do you call him? Caliber, right? Anyway, Kai Havertz was the long forgotten conclusion. He's been unveiled for sure. Man United, new stories now. Andre Onana, the prime targets, and that could be done as early as this week, could be closed off. Mason Mount has since been unveiled at United. United start their preseason game pretty much this week as well. I think their first game would happen before they go out to the US, but the first game happening this week, if I'm not mistaken, against Lyon or something like that, right? But another player has popped up now, Erling Haaland, so to speak, was a protege, because he pretty much has the frame like Erling Haaland.
The statement he used on Twitter,
The poor man Haaland?
Yeah, the poor man.
Right. But this kid is very good, right? And Man United want him. He's a kid from, Denmark, and you can see why the comparisons are there, the Scandinavian comparisons. He's very quick, plays for Atalanta, left-footed as well. And I like football because football has the power to take the eyes of the world to places where people don't think, are powerhouses. I mean, Norway, for example, has got a massive appeal now because of Erling Haaland, the Viking, the hairstyle, everything. Denmark as well is part of the Scandinavian bloc as well. So tell me about this kid quickly. Rasmus Højlund, the poor man's Haaland?
I think Atalanta, every club now knows that United need a point man, a number 9. And so there's this talk about a United tax, when they want to sign a player, but I don't think that is going to happen right now. But we don't get their player. It's looking likely that they're going to get him at the end of the day. So how much will they pay? That is what we don't know yet. But I'm very sure it won't be less than 50 million that they're going to pay for him.
Right.
But they really need to get it out of the striker.
Yeah. So at 20 years of age, hopefully United could get that player. I'm sure United fans will be very, very interested in that one. Andre Onana as well. There's also a story about Fiorentina's player, Sofian Amrabat. We'll see how that pans out. Chelsea are still, wiggling their way through the minefield that is Brighton and Hove Albion. Of course, some of their players, Chukwu, Madueke, of course, and Louis Colwill in the UEFA European Championships. They won that with the under-21, so congrats to them. Liverpool getting to do more business and actually speaking to Romeo Lavia, who's been followed very closely by Arsenal, and we're hearing that all the top clubs are in for this kid. Liverpool getting closer to talking to the player directly. Well then, let's finish up the show today. Ani, enjoyed your company, but let's touch base with Lewis Hamilton, who made the podium for the first time in a while, but Max Verstappen continuing to lead the F1 British Grand Prix. 6 consecutive victories for him is a career high for him. 11 for Red Bull. Lando Norris as well, coming second with McLaren. So, he's going to win this thing. There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt about it. And I think what he's just doing right now is just to tell everyone that if you think I'm going to
disappear,
if I'm going to allow complacency to set into my game, well, you
have something else coming.
Of course, and that is what he's doing right now. He doesn't want anyone to come close to him, and that is not sitting down well with Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes, because Lewis Hamilton, according to reports, on the financial aspect, everything is set to. On the duration of the contract, everything is set to. What is just left for him is, I think, a bit of what are we going to do to make sure that we bridge the gap between Red Bull. And I think right now it's not even just Red Bull, even McLaren is pulling clear
of Mercedes.
Of Mercedes, because if not for the experience of Lewis Hamilton, he would have missed out on the podium, which would have been the first time in 10 years that he won't be on the podium at the British Grand Prix. So I think that is what is happening right now. He's telling them, what improvement are we going to do for next year
before we get that contract?
So we can get closer,
right?
Closer to him.
Well, they say all good things come to an end. Mercedes had a good run, and maybe it's not coming to an end, but it's certainly come to a grinding halt. So good to see that. Falan Adeni, I totally enjoyed our conversation today. As always, Sports Pizza fans and lovers, stay with us for all the big talking points going into the new season. We're getting very closer. At the moment, you see your favorite teams back on preseason tour and all that stuff. Cop a jersey, cop a nice kit ahead of the new season, and have your bragging rights sorted out in time. My name is Yubi, and so we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. From all of us in the studio, we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.